What happens next? Come with me to quit my corporate job with no plan. And I believe this gloomy morning may be quite fitting, but I've just reached the point where I'm tired of the microaggressions. I'm tired of failing leadership, mismanagement, and I don't know where the future will take me, but I am excited to turn the page now and to start a new chapter.
Oh, really?
Am I nervous? Yes. Not to quit. Mostly.
Do you have a savings? Do you have a savings? She said she's quitting with no backup plan.
To not know what's
Excuse me.
next, but sometimes you do really just have to step out on faith, and I'm getting older, and I feel like there's no better time than now to bet on myself. And then if I fail, at least I've tried. At least I didn't remain complacent and in a place that no longer served me.
Oh my goodness. You can't be. Do y'all see that caption? It's probably too small for y'all to see it. The caption says, "Notice that my check engine light was on and almost changed my mind." So that's supposed to be your sign right there. See, it's like that story about the person who was lost at sea, stranded in the water, and he said he was waiting on God to come save him. One person came by on a boat. They said, "Hey, do you need some help?" He said, "No, I'm waiting for God to save me." Then another cruise ship came by, and they yelled down, "Hey, do you need some help?" And he said, "No, you guys can go ahead. I'm waiting for God to save me." Then he drowned. And then when he got up to heaven, he said, "What happened, God? Why didn't you save me?" And he said, "What are you talking about? I sent you a boat and a ship." And so it might be a similar situation to this. She that's your warning right there. That your check engine light, you also that's your check your bank account light. So that means you need to check your bank account. You need to look what's in there. You need to check your credit card balances. You need to look what's in there. And then that needs to be your indication whether or not you're positioned to be able to make this move or not. And I highly doubt that you are.
Place that no longer served me. Okay.
Oh, she wasn't lying either. Did you see the check engine light? Look. Hold on. Look at it. Look. Oh yeah, she wasn't lying. That check engine light is really on. And see, ladies be having the check engine light, they don't know what's going on. They they just try to pretend like it don't exist. They don't even want to find out. They don't even want to go get the codes read because they already know what it's going to end up being. Is it going to be end up being or no, excuse me. It's not that they know what it's going to end up being. They're just assuming it's going to be the worst things. They're assuming it's going to be thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, it be a sensor or something. And so now you're living through all this anxiety, all this fear, draining your emotions because now you got one more thing in the background as a tab in your mind, taking up space and utilizing energy that you're dreading. Y'all, before we get back into this, if you could like the video, only takes a second and it actually does help out more than you know. And then also if you can hype the video as well. And also I just dropped the clips channel. And the goal is to get that channel monetized before February 1st. So I will pin it in the comments, the link for the new clips channel where I'll be posting shorter clips. And yeah, if you can go subscribe over there as well. Greatly appreciate it. But let's get back into it.
Okay, I'm literally about to turn in. I know my nerves are kicking in just a bit.
Oh, she's taking us along the journey for real. Is that her office?
We're all packed up. Last step, getting this stuff in the car.
Wow. She got her own office. She don't even really got to be around people for real. Dang, you couldn't endure? You got your own office where you could just close the door? You still couldn't endure? Dang. You ain't even really being micromanaged like that. I could see if you was in a cubicle, anybody can just look over your shoulder, look at your screen. You got your own office? Wow. Wow. And then Brianna in the comments going to talk about some, don't let these people speak fear into you. You will be fine. What? It's not speaking fear. It's basically just being rational. We're not trying to speak fear. We're trying to speak practicality into her. Be practical. How do we care more about your situation than you care about your situation? She had her own little office. She said, her description says, sometimes you got to step out on faith. Faith without work.
Well, it's done. Let's see what happens next.
That is not that is not how we living. Let's see what happened next. Listen, that's a phrase that's supposed to be said by capable people who bet on themselves. Candy, okay, shout out to Candy. Candy in the comments said, this is irresponsible, but best of luck. Very irresponsible. Best of luck, though. I feel the same way. I wish you the best of luck. I hope it works out. But it's very irresponsible. And even if it does work out, what that could serve is as negative reinforcement or positive reinforcement for something negative. Because it's still a negative thing to do. That's not the way to do it. The rule of thumb is you don't quit your job without another job lined up, or at least without savings. Somebody put, wow, without a plan, that's bold. Another woman, shout out to her. But then we got people, see, Mika, shout out to Mika. She said, I want to also, but how are we maintaining bills without a job? That's my biggest fear. And then y'all, Lola is going to talk about I've been here twice. God did supply it all. I'm ready to step out again. She done did this twice already. She talking about, didn't I just say positively reinforcing negative things, and eventually you're not going to hit the jackpot. Eventually the bets is going to be called and you're going to be holding the bill. And so now she wants to do it a third time in the worst economy ever. Congratulations, you've been here twice. You've stepped out. Those were different economies and different job markets. This is a totally different animal. And anybody getting laid off who have been forced into this position will be the first ones to tell you, do not leave your job on a whim right now. So congratulations, Mel. I hope it works out. She did this 3 days ago in this economy. Again, y'all, if you could helps out more than you know.
He recorded himself quitting because of a toxic manager. 2 days later, everyone else quit.
No, I'm just letting you know I'm quitting. Yeah.
You gotta call the office and let them know.
All right. Well, you can do that too.
I don't have the right to do it.
Well, I mean, just because you have an attitude with certain things and you don't know how to delegate it,
Goodbye.
it shows your character a lot. Especially how patient I've been, holding my tongue.
Have a good day.
You have a nice life.
Leave before I have you.
Yeah. All right. Keep talking. Come on, bro. It was good to meet you. I'm done with this shit.
He
Where does it say that this is a mandatory meeting?
In conversations that I've been
The caption says, I resigned from my toxic job. This conversation was a few months prior. So it looks like she resigned, but she's posting a conversation from a few months prior so that we have the context, I guess, of why she left. So she must be trying to preface, like she just said, that the job is toxic, and she's showing us an example.
Where does it say that this is a mandatory meeting?
in conversations that I've been having with Jonathan.
Oh, well, I did not know that, obviously.
It says in-person FY26 strategic planning meeting from Jonathan.
Okay.
I don't know how much more Jonathan wants us to be on site, that, yeah, you should probably be on site. So if the meeting comes out in February, people should mark their calendars and say that's an in-person meeting. But if you're submitting a request on March 6th, you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like, John wants me to be at this meeting, but I'm going to go on vacation anyway.
Okay, but I already had something scheduled, so I wouldn't have known that there was going to be a meeting invite that was going to come out. I saw the meeting invite, and I was like, oh, shoot, I better make sure I sent all my stuff out, because that is one of the conflicts, and I'm sure there could be more down the road, and I want to make sure that, you know, my leave requests are out there ahead of time, because obviously this one.
So it sounds like she had a plan scheduled already, but she hadn't put in her PTO request yet. And so then they came with a meeting that they wanted everybody to show up for in person. And so then she said, well, let me go ahead and take the time off for this vacation. And that was when they, now they're like, oh, the meeting's coming out. You want to take a vacation when there's a meeting. I really think it's a misunderstanding. And by misunderstanding, I think they may be misunderstanding intentions, or maybe they're accurately understanding intentions. Maybe she just doesn't like the meetings. Maybe she doesn't like the in-person meetings or whatever. And maybe she did that on purpose. It's possible. Maybe because we're just going off her perspective, maybe her intent was to shirk off the meeting by taking a vacation right when the meeting's scheduled, but then saying I already had it planned, I just didn't put it in yet. Or maybe she didn't. But I only bring that up to say that's probably where the corporation is assuming her intention was. So what it could also be is maybe there's other things that might have happened before to where they're a little bit speculative, or maybe they're just cynical just in general. That's what I'm trying to understand. But I don't think it's that deep. But clearly it wasn't that deep, because I believe she didn't get fired or anything. I believe she quit. So it's like, sounds like it was water under the bridge anyway. I don't know how toxic this necessarily is. Especially, it sounds like she may be in a higher management position.
Requests are out there ahead of time, because obviously this one was not.
Right. So the leave request was after Jonathan called the meeting.
Right. Oh, see,
because I think we sent this out in February, so it was already on your calendar, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was already on your calendar before you put the leave request in, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I already had the leave request, and then Jonathan called the meeting.
I thought you were saying the other way around.
It's pretty easy to understand.
Okay, well, I cannot make it that day, so I'm not going to be able to cancel what I need to do.
Yeah, I think she did that on purpose, honestly. I think they put it on her calendar and she didn't want to go to the meeting. She probably works remote, and she probably doesn't like to do anything in person. She wants to keep everything remote. And so that was her way of basically, I don't want to see y'all, right? Because there's a difference. Once you get back into the in-person thing, now all the corporate things start to really take effect, where you really gotta, it can be draining. She probably just doesn't want to go into the draining environment because now you got to put on appearance. You got to, if you're used to being remote and you're used to just being able to be yourself, be authentic, maybe just show up, do what you got to do on a Zoom call every so often. But now you got to come in the office. She just doesn't want to do that. So I think she did this on purpose, ultimately. My opinion, I think she did it on purpose, which is wrong. And, because I don't think it's that big of a deal. Just do what you got to do and keep it moving. It seems like she tried something, and now it's created an even bigger issue. And so now she felt some type of way, and it sounds like it went further where she sabotaged herself and ended up ultimately leaving the job. Hopefully you had another one, though.
What I need to do.
Okay. That's fine. Does the same go for
other people that don't live in the state going to be attending this meeting and also know that it's a requirement?
Everybody that I've talked to that has been invited is attending.
And does this include Sherry?
The in-person managers meeting, yeah.
Does she have a plane ticket already?
I haven't asked her if she has a plane ticket already. I don't know if she's going to be needing to fly that day. Not sure if she's going to be here, though.
Okay. I'm just wondering, I feel like, why are you asking me all these questions? Other people may not be able to show up as well.
What if I confirm that everyone?
And I think
you might be the only one, I think, that's not going to be here that day. So I just want to be able to explain to Jonathan. That's it.
Where does it?
Well, I mean, what's there to explain, though? See, this is how it can get, man. It just gets. This is kind of toxic. What do you mean? You need to explain. You really have everything you need to explain already. The explanation is that she has a trip on that day. But I guess the explanation that he's saying is, what is your, because she did freeze when he basically lined up the facts. And the facts were, you put in your request after we had already created the meeting. So explain why that happened. She froze up and she didn't answer his question when he basically put her against the wall to ask her that. I think she's wrong in this situation. I think that she's wrong in this situation because it's not that hard. But at the same time, I feel like she feels like, oh, you're forcing me to have to come to the meeting, but other people who work in other states, they don't have to necessarily go. I just have to go because you know that I live in the state, but other people will be probably attending virtually. So she feels some type of way because it's like, I'm getting penalized. I got to come in. She just don't like them. She don't like them. She don't like being around them. And, but she's going to end up, in my opinion, fumbling a little bit. Fumbling a lot of it, excuse me, over trivial stuff. Just do what you got to do. Muster up whatever you got to muster up and accomplish the mission, and then you'll be back to normal.
I quit, Mark. Fuck you in this store.
That's not smart.
So it's been about a month now since I quit my job, and I must say that
his caption said, I quit my job without a backup plan. And then his description says, chase your purpose, not security. What? He thought he was cooking with that one, with that quote. Oh, he thought he cooked on that one. He put in the description, chase your purpose, not security. Why can't both things be true? Why can't you have security and be chasing your purpose? Why has it got to be either or? I would argue that being secure would enable you to be able to fully chase your purpose. People who are in survival, how are you going to be able to think outside of survival and ultimately be on your purpose if you're in a survival state? That just doesn't make sense, man. That's probably why your shirt's all wrinkly like this. You don't make sense. Chase your purpose, not security. Come on, dude. That is a horrible thing to be trying to tell people.
I must say that it's the best decision that I made, but it's also one of the hardest decisions that I've made. It's definitely the best decision for me because my health was just being affected by it too much. My mental was being affected by it too much. Working in toxic environments is a lot more damaging than what a lot of people give it credit for. Because I see a lot of people always give the generic advice of don't quit without a backup plan, don't quit without emergency savings. And as much as that is good advice, I also think that it's advice that is given without the nuance of understanding how
So let me get this straight. You're quitting your job because it's stressful and it puts you in a bad mental space. But then quitting your job without savings and without another job, that wouldn't put you in a stressful, poor mental state. Not knowing where your next dollar's coming from and having these bills creeping up on you, and eventually the rubber hitting the road to where you can't pay your stuff. And now you have to face the possibility of eviction, repo, and all the other things that we constantly see people go through, where they then have to have people come and save them from their own life decisions and life choices. You don't think that that's stressful?
without the nuance of understanding how toxic environments, pushing yourself to working those every day can also be very harmful to the point where it's becoming very destructive. You hear about stress starting to take people out at very early ages. So I just think that we have to have a more nuanced conversation around these things where we're not so afraid to take these leaps and we can start doubling down in our faith. Not saying it's going to be easy, but saying that it can be necessary because it can save a life. It can help somebody open up a bigger door. Like, it's okay to take a chance. And it's not going to be peaches and cream. I don't think anyone should ever expect that. But I do think that if we keep holding on to security, that we make ourselves small by doing that. I did close a door on a job that was underpaying me, very high demand, stressful job. But at the same time, I used to put off things because I would say, I got to go do this. I got to go this for the job. I was putting the job before anything and everything in my life. And it was not pouring back into me. So, yes, I closed that door. And I am.
Really, all the things that I'm hearing is just that all these things do to me, what all these external things do to me internally. And so what that should be a symbol of is that how about we just start focusing on the internal things within ourselves? How about we figure out better ways to be able to manage the stress, or maybe even to be able to detach? See what enduring these complex challenges within the workforce and ultimately within our life, what that enables us to do is to be able to, for us to grow and maybe even get that thing that everyone loves to throw around so much, the emotional intelligence, right? Everybody loves to use this word emotional intelligence, but then once they start feeling a little bit of emotions, they get less intelligent, and then they quit their job with no savings and no backup plan. Just detach. If you don't want to be there anyway, then and you're at the stage to where you're willing to quit, then why not just be there already and just let everything roll off you, and you just say, well, I'm just going to keep getting paid till they don't want me to get paid no more. That would be the obvious thing to me. Because if you detach, if you don't don't do anything to get fired. Why do that? But I mean, whatever it is that's stressing you out, if it's not fair or whatever, just keep doing whatever you do. Just say, okay, all right, I'll get to it. Okay. And then what that'll allow you to do, you gaining that skill will be transferable everywhere. Now you go home and maybe your chick start tripping about something. And now you have the emotional intelligence. You can be like, okay, I understand. Now you'll be able to be more patient. You'll be able to be more cerebral through emotional volatility. And so all you just did and all you just trained and reinforced was a quitting habit. When things get hard, when things get too tough, you take your ball and you go home. And that's not a good habit to continue to establish and reinforce as a grown man, especially in the changing environment and landscape of society right now, where capability is at a premium. And when I say a premium, if you want to continue to really thrive, you need to be capable and you need to have internal traits that make you rare and ultimately that make you capable, like I mentioned.
I quit my job today. I just had to. I had to get out of there. I had to escape the toxic work environment in these corporate companies. I just can't do it anymore. I escaped one job for that reason to come to this one, and now this one's doing the same thing. We're done with the repetitive cycle and with allowing the toxicity in my life. I'm done with it. You tried to fire me 4 months after my sister passed away. Wrote me up because I got upset over the shitty pay raise that you gave me. Anyway, am I scared? Absolutely. Scared shitless, as a matter of fact. But it's not worth my peace of mind anymore.
Yeah, just say your ego got involved. But here's what I will address. Toxic work environments are real, especially now more than ever. I feel like the more leverage a corporation gets, the more toxic it can tend to get, which also works vice versa, right? The more leverage that an employee gets, I would argue, the more toxic. It's just how life works, right? If they came out with a federal regulation today that said a job can't force you to come to work on time, and they can't fire you either if you're late, and then the job tried to come to you and be like, I know the new regulation came out, but we sure would appreciate it if y'all would still, just show up on time. Do you think people would show up on time just because they nicely asked? No. They'd be like, I don't have to do it, so I'm not. And so it's going to work on the opposite side of the coin. And I don't think that is right. It'd be nice if people could just do good business and things could just be cool and people can just be professional and one side's not trying to extract as much as humanly possible out of the other side's life force, right? And maybe even add an extra complexity that we have to deal with because we're dealing with humans and humans are not perfect. We got insecurities, we got imperfections that we tend to project out onto other people, right? So I trust me, I understand. In the workforce, it can definitely be a ish show. And so that's why it's on you to just maintain yourself in a professional manner. And again, you got to be able to detach to a certain degree and just do what you can and also just know who you are, but ultimately never allow yourself to get pulled out of character or at least the character that you're looking to represent yourself and your family with. And so when you go to a corporation, when you go to your job, you should be looking to represent yourself in a certain way and it should be consistent. And so you should never be pulled away from that. And just look at it as training in order to be able to have that discipline to keep yourself composed in any environment. And again, that'll be a universal skill that'll transfer and translate across all areas of your life. So we'll leave it there for today. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also if you could hype the video. Hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I am a smaller creator, a smaller channel, we actually get more points per hype. and hype was designed for smaller channels. So that's why. But if you come across a video and you don't see the hype button, and it's probably been over 7 days, and hype usually vanishes after 7 days. So it's usually best practice, if you want to hype, to just go ahead and hype while the iron is hot on a newer video. And then also, if you want to become a member of the channel as well, the join button's on the video. And what becoming a member of the DXU family will come with is you would get badges next to your comments, where it will show people that you are a member whenever you leave a comment, as well as you would get early access to content and also exclusive content that's not available for everyone else on YouTube. So again, if you want to become a member, join button's on the video. But until then, I'll see you in the next video.